Yellow again. It's that time of year, winter. And also appropriate time for a recap of Project 13 by 62 Season 2, where I'm going to tell you what had happened in the previous year, what my goals are, and of course, what's been going on, because that's why you're here. Otherwise, hi. I'm Mikey Tarts, and I'm attempting to run a half marathon in each county within the state of New York. Join me as I go for 13 miles, 62 times. Yes, it is winter, it is cold, it is in the 20s Fahrenheit today. Before we begin, as always, just a quick little disclaimer. I am not a certified trainer, I'm not a nutritionist, so take everything you hear coming out of my mouth as purely anecdotal. Please, if you want to follow in my footsteps, do your own research, do it safely, and please consult a professional before changing any athletic or dietary plans. You know the drill. Thank you very much. Now, without further ado, here we go. What is Project 13 by 62 for those just finding out about it now? Project 13 by 62 is my endeavor to run a half marathon, 13.1 miles, in each of New York's 62 counties in an effort to raise money for the Children's Heart Foundation. As of this recording, I am 53 counties within the 62 county project. Let's go. What defines Season 2 within this project? Season 2 is effectively the second year of the project, April 2025 till today. Considering how there was a winter break last year and there's going to be one this year, I find the series of videos being published to be akin to television seasons in the United States. Season 1 were the first 36 counties. Season 2 is counties 37 through 53. There you go. How many counties were completed during Season 2? 17. Half as many as Season 1, yes, but they were relatively twice as far. I know last year, Season 1 had 36 completed, but these 17, well, there were some geographic, logistical concerns that had to be overcome. How did the geographic focus of Season 2 differ from Season 1? To say significantly more mountainous is a little bit of an understatement. All of the counties I had done this year went diagonally from the Adirondacks, cutting through to the Allegheny Plains. So that means going over the Catskills, through the Adirondacks, just a lot of mountainous terrain. So a lot more driving, quite a bit of logistical planning to make sure I had the time off to do what I had to do and get it done. How did your planning process evolve for Season 2 runs? Where it was nice in Season 1 to get a lot of these runs done back to back, it was a near necessity for Season 2 to drive up to 6.5 hours out west, for example. So far west, almost to Erie, Pennsylvania. Do a half marathon, sleep overnight, and do a half marathon before driving back home, oftentimes still having to work the next day. That's going to be the same situation for Season 3, but I'm getting ahead of myself. What role did overnight trips play this season? I could pretty much drive 5 hours somewhere, do a run for 2 hours and drive back, do that all within a day. That's a lot of mileage on the car. I could be more productive. So I'm deciding to try to bunch together the remaining runs as best as I can into 2 or 3 day chunks, just to assure that I can get it all done in an economical manner. Just so I can get it all done in an economical manner. How did clustering counties affect recovery and pacing? This was the interesting part. When I started the whole thing off going in Putnam and Rockland counties for counties number 1 and 2 respectively, that was the first time I demanded of my body to do a half marathon in 2 consecutive days. I was worried if I was going to be able to get it done, but ultimately I did. And now what was supposed to be a one-time off favor test thing ended up being so regular that I got used to doing multiple half marathons, not just back to back, but within a week. This is not something that I had set out to do, it's just something that might have had happened because of the endurance that I had gained. I don't know where that endurance had come from, maybe from the project itself. The 2 days consecutive running went from fluke to commonplace to easy, if I dare say that. Were the counties this season that required multiple planning attempts? Fortunately, no. As of this recording, Queens County, number 10, was the only one that required me to go back and rerun it because of some mishap. For one stride, putting me in Spain and then immediately back in Queens. So it recorded the distance, but it could not record the path. In Season 2 for Chemung and Steuben counties, I realized a half mile after starting that one of the GPS watches I was wearing did not start.
I missed the first quarter mile or so because I forgot to start the Garmin.
Fortunately, I had 2 going, so it at least captured one of the full distance measurements. Just really close in Chemung and Steuben counties. Lesson learned. How did the terrain in Season 2 compare to earlier counties? Okay, so I have to break out my calculator for this, and I have a little note here on the side. Season 2 brought a total of 6,545 feet, or about 1,995 meters, of elevation gain, versus Season 1's 17,910 feet. That means that the average elevation for each run of Season 2 was approximately 50 feet fewer than Season 1's average runs. There were still a lot of challenging climbs within Wyoming County, going through Letchworth Park.
Oh look, more hills.
And those final 600 meters of the Lake Placid Half Marathon for Essex County. Hamilton County was actually hilly as well in a way that I wasn't expecting.
I mean, what's the Adirondacks without some hills?
Either way, there were quite a few flat runs that made up for it, especially within Madison County and Chautauqua County. Very fun and quite challenging with the elevation gain in the terrain that I had seen. What weather conditions defined Season 2 runs overall? Honestly, most were quite clear. While in Season 1, Oneida County seems to be a standout in my memory for being so warm.
20 ounces was just barely enough, and that's with rationing. It was humid and hot.
It wasn't until this year that I encountered Cayuga County going through Port Byron and also Wayne County. For Sodas Point, both were in the upper 70s in temperature and high humidity. Cayuga County was completely exposed, and Wayne County snuck up on you. I got overheated, perhaps didn't even replenish my reserves well after the run, and ended up getting quite sick those respective evenings. But food for thought, food for thought. Did daylight constraints ever affect any safety or timing? Yes. Yes, it did. Once. Throughout the entirety of this project, I've never intentionally committed to a evening or late run. I want to say that even Westchester County's run, where I ended at around 5 o'clock or so, was the latest that I had done.
I want to say this is the latest I've ever started one of these projects.
However, it wasn't until Madison County this year that I actually encountered a night run. A cardiology appointment ran a little bit longer than I had anticipated and ended up getting to the Chittenango trailhead closer to about 7 p.m.
Sorry, we have to cut the chat and go in Chittenango.
Hey! This did not leave me with a lot of daylight before I had to finish the run. Fortunately, I had my headlamp on me and there were no creatures that were waiting for me in the dark. It was just bats and bunnies the entire way. That was the only night run that I had done. How did you manage fueling and hydration without aid stations this season? Well, except for the 2 races that I had completed, everything was on my person. It was 20 fluid ounces going from point A to point B. The races were great with hydration tables and other snacks along the way. What kinds of environments dominated Season 2 routes? It was wonderfully varied. Small towns and cities like Cuba, New York in Allegheny County and Mexico, New York up in Oswego County stand out as pleasant little suburbs seemingly in the middle of nowhere. The run that I had on the Chautauqua County Trail out in Sherman was quite beautiful. Nary saw another person except for perhaps a carriage at one point.
Oh, okay. I thought that was thunder. It's a carriage.
And in terms of terrain, that run, and perhaps the ones that I had done in Yates County,
the majority of the trail was either packed gravel, like what I'm standing on right now.
They could have benefited from me wearing trail shoes for stability, yet didn't quite pan out that way. What types of places did you run through that you hadn't before in this project? Honestly, none of it was familiar. Sure, running on streets and running on trails had become commonplace at this point, but except for running through Corning for Steuben County, I have almost no recollection of ever having seen any of these places. So the novelty, the newness of it all, that's what struck me. That to me is going to be the hallmark of season 2. How did running through rural or remote counties affect the experience? Well, whenever I run any long distance, I always get caught in my head. I talk to myself, I daydream, I play music in my brain because I don't listen to music when I go running. Being out in some of these more remote areas helped me to feel more free, more open, and not be that weird guy with strange looks coming at me. I tried to stay preoccupied with obeying the local rules, if anything. Were there moments where the setting changed how you approached the run? As the run unfolded, what came before me was unique and beautiful. What comes to mind immediately were Mexico and Port Byron. They started in a suburban area, but the farther out I went, the more farmland I got, the more open it got. And then returning back into town was such a sudden shift from what I had seen that the architecture and the suburban nature really put the pop in population. What did season 2 reveal about your physical limits? Well, it got hard. Though doing doubles, and in 1 week double doubles, had definitely put a strain on my legs and my wallet, it ended up being not as physically demanding as I thought it would be when I started the project. How did your approach to recovery change compared to season 1? I nearly dodged this question earlier. I'm not great at recovery. I'm the kind of person that ran a 50K and then the next day still decided to run 2 or 3 miles to keep a streak going. I ran the entirety of the old Croton Aqueduct, not as part of this project, but still during the project. And the next day, though Thanksgiving, still got out for another 2 miles. Again, please do not do this. Listen to your body. I should be paying attention to that more. I've learned to try to keep the engine primed for more double runs. Did pacing expectations shift as the project progressed? No, expectations were still roughly 2 hours per run. What was unexpected was the race that I had in Steuben County, where I finished with my third best ever half marathon time, less than 24 hours removed from having already run a hot half marathon. How did mental fatigue differ from physical fatigue this season? The mental fatigue only surfaced with the long drives out west or up north compared to season 1. The act of doing 13 miles so frequently, either for this project or for training for longer races, has made those distances feel, dare I say, shorter. Before I know it, I was clicking off all the miles for the runs. They didn't feel as taxing as they could have been. The endurance just came the more often I had done this. How does the project feel now compared to when it began? It feels real. It feels that it has momentum. It feels that there is a bit of a personality to it. I've been the kind of person to start things but not want to finish them. I'll plan out a story and let it rot out in draft form, or I'll start a knitting project and let it just kind of sit there because I just lost interest. Now I'm 53 counties in. It's not just become something that I feel an urge to complete, but it's also become a friend. Does that make any sense? What surprised you most about season 2 as a whole? I've seen Project 13 by 62 as a way to explore New York, see what's out there. And it's been so consistent and amazing with everything that I had discovered, from a new kind of bread in Allegheny County to the warmth of the locals that I saw in Steuben County. Big shout to Kim and Jay last night, who had been very kind to me at dinner. This has been completely incredible. In spite of amazing distractions, running the Tokyo Marathon and Sydney Marathon in the same time frame, doing 13 by 62 has become a reliable friend that I hope I don't let down. How close does completion feel at this stage of the project? I have a fire to finish it. It's my story. It's not just New York that I'm exploring. Here I am, somebody with a congenital heart defect, still able to accomplish something of this scale. It's nowhere near what Nick Butter had done running a marathon in every country in the world, the thing that inspired this project. Yet I'm still hoping to show that if somebody is out there and they feel that warming the bench is the only thing they can do athletically because they have a heart defect, with the proper guidance, the proper consultations, you can write your own story. You will have a lot of reward in telling. You are not alone. What mindset are you carrying into season 3? Let's get it done. Let's finish strong. It's going to start hard because the first race that I have this year isn't even in New York. It's going to be in London, Ohio. A full marathon. 7 days removed from running 26.2, I'm going to be doing St. Lawrence, Clinton, and Franklin counties back to back to back. I still have the 5 counties out west to hit up: Genesee, Livingston, Erie, Niagara, and Orleans. And of course, there's one county I have not yet mentioned that I'm saving till last. Have there been moments where this project reached beyond running into the local community? After the Essex County run, when I was chatting with another runner named Wes, hi Wes, the Adirondack Daily Enterprise asked a few runners what was going on with the run and what they thought about it, and they asked me a few questions about Project 13 by 62 once they found out about it. Later on, I was interviewed by the Examiner News about the project, and a piece was published early this year. I am floored that anyone would take that kind of interest, as I record these videos not just as evidence that I had done them. It's my little memoir, diary, postcard, what have you. So that it's reached out as much as it had surprised me. You say you've completed 2 races. Are there any counties you've run that you would like to see as a race? Well, yeah. The one that jumps into my mind is in Broome County in Otsiningo Park that had a nice loop around 2 little lakes. It was a real nice out and back by Route 84. I can also see the town of Owego in Tioga County becoming a race. We might have to shut down the roads for a chunk of it, but 2 laps around that town I was able to get a half marathon in. But if there was one that really got to me, I would have to say Yates County, going from Penn Yan to Dresden and back.
If you're a leaf peeper, this is the time of year to come here.
A nice combination of road and gravel, somewhat narrow, but the out and back being 14 miles just seemed absolutely beautiful and pleasant, and pretty much was completely on trails. Very little road crossing. I would love to see that be a full race. Okay, so those are some questions that have been put out there, hoping that sufficiently answers what's been going on in Season 2 and what my mindset is going into Season 3. But what is a questionnaire without some fun in it? Here's some rapid fire questions. Ready? Hydration pack or handheld? Handheld. Road or trail? Road. Gravel's okay. Socks. Ankle or calf? Ankle. Shoes. Cushioned or carbon plated? Cushioned. Sunrise or sunset runs? Sunrise. Out and back or lap runs? Out and back. Just not a lot of straightaways. Mountainside runs or lakeside runs? Lakeside runs, but mountainside is beautiful. Big city or rural? Rural. Farmlands, baby. Strict plans or spontaneous? Spontaneous. Carb preload or protein refuel? Give me carbs now. Sports drink or water? Water. Race gel, sweet or salty? Sweet, sweet vanilla. New shoes or Old Faithfuls? Old Faithfuls. Long runs or speed work? Do we know each other? Favorite running shoes? I've been using a lot of Brooks Glycerin. Strength training or stretching? Stretchy, stretchy. New routes or repeats? New routes, duh. Singlet or shirt? Shirt. Race bib, up top or on shorts? Flip it to my abs. Worst weather to run in? Hot, humid, and sunny. Day trip or stay overnight? Overnights! Ice bath or hot shower? Hot shower. With lavender soap. One word to describe Season 2. Travel dense. That's a hyphenate. Regional New York dishes that come to mind. Salt rising bread, garbage plates, buffalo wings. What state would you do next? Connecticut. Does pineapple go on pizza? Sure. Why not? All right, so those are all the questions. Thank you very much. As always, if you want to follow along with the project, you can go to my website and see where I've been. All the photos and videos that I have published so far here on YouTube. Until next time, let's do this. Season 3, final season. Thank you for watching. Thank you for support. It's that time of year again when it's cold outside in New York, because it's the Northeast and it gets cold. It's like 23 degrees outside, y'all. It's cold. But anyway.